BookTube, and welcome to my review for Overlord Volume 3, The Blood Valkyrie by Kugane Maruyama. I came across these light novels by first watching the Overlord anime on Crunchyroll, and I have read the first two light novel volumes, but I haven't done a review because I read them so long ago. So a brief overview of the series in general. This follows a Japanese young man who is transported kind of into his favorite video game. So all of the powers and things like that are the same, but the map and world and location are not what was from the video game. So he has to figure out what's going on. He so far is the only person from the game that got transported there, and he is surrounded by non-player characters or NPCs that were created by himself and his guild in this game. So with this installment, our first chapter follows Cebus, who is a NPC butler, along with Solution Epsilon, who is an NPC as well, and she's one of the Palladius battle maids, are posing as an aristocrat and their butler, and they've gone to the fortress city of Erentel to just do some reconnaissance and see what's going on and be the eyes and ears of Ains, the main character in that city. Another part of this book is Ains continuing his own reconnaissance, and that is as an adventurer, posing as an adventurer, Moment of Darkness, and building his reputation as a sort of hero for the surrounding lands of the Tomb of Nazareth, which is his home and the home of the NPCs. The remainder of the book follows Shaltir Bloodfallen, the vampire floor guardian of floors 1 through 3 of the Tomb of Nazareth. She goes on a mission and encounters a bandit hideout. She ends up drinking so much blood, she goes into this sort of blood rage and starts to kill all sorts of people beyond the bandits, and ends up getting mind controlled by someone out in the world. And Ains is then forced to have to battle her himself to end the mind control that she is afflicted by. The overall theme of this book comes down to trust. Ains struggles with putting his full faith in these NPCs that now have their own personality and they talk, which is something they didn't do in the game. He is concerned about trusting them fully because he's worried with how intelligent some of them are, and he's concerned that they might conspire against him at some point. This is put in juxtaposition by the fact that he sees these NPCs creators, his former friends and players of the game. He sees their personalities within them in the NPCs that they created, and so it's the only link he has to the world that he remembers before he was transported to this new one. And of course, this all comes into a final climax when he's forced to battle Shaltir Bloodfallen when she is under the effects of the mind control. So this volume of this light novel, volume number 3, was the climax of season 1 of the anime. And in the show, it went a lot faster. And that is not too much to its detriment, at least from my perspective. The biggest thing I've noticed in reading these light novels in comparison with the anime is that obviously they had to cut some things out, but the things that they cut out aren't necessarily things that are particularly interesting or things that would transfer to a visual medium very well. So you get a few extra minor characters, such as Albedo's sister, who is there for a little bit to provide some information. So the reason that she was cut from the anime, was very obvious. And then the rest of what you get could be compared to reading a D&D manual. So you get a lot of Ains describing items, how they work, what their power stats are, spells, what their power stats are, what they do. And this goes on for a long, long time. And this was this was to the detriment of the novel, I feel like. It's not something I was particularly interested in. So the lead up to the battle with Shaltir at the end of this novel was Ains going through the treasure room at Nazareth and collecting a whole bunch of items and things like that and just describing what they do. And it just goes on and on and on. And it took me a long time to finish the last 50 pages of this book because it was just it was reading lists, and so that was not enjoyable at all. However, I would recommend these novels to anyone that is interested in Japanese fantasy, especially the isekai subgenre, as well anyone that does enjoy those micro aspects of fantasy, the info dumping of, all of the mechanics of the world, the magic systems, things like that. Otherwise, I haven't read the manga myself, but I imagine that it's a compromise between the light novels and the animes, so maybe start there if you're not sure, if you want more information than the anime can give you, but you're not quite want to go into the light novels themselves. Thank you for joining me for this review of Overlord Volume 3, The Blood Valkyrie by Kugane Maruyama. And be sure to subscribe to our channel, like the video, and I will see you later.